Now, culture is such an important topic, and it is not something that just happens by accident. I know it's not a word that we use a lot in business, but I do. It's really loving your people. Caring for your people is really, really important. We're a learning organization. We've got a whole learning division, a leadership division where we're teaching technology people how to go to that next level. I want to be a better version of me. You know, the core values can't just be words on a wall. They can't be just words in a handbook. I mean, they truly need to be lived out. Elevate your people. You want to elevate your leadership? Start by elevating the people that have been entrusted to you. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. As we traverse through the journey, there are new things. I mean, I learn something new every single day. You cannot lead others until you have figured out how to lead yourself. If you don't love people, you probably should not be able to.
Welcome to the Culture from the Heart podcast on the From the Heart Business Network. In a business world where employees and customers crave authenticity and trust, hosts Larry Levine and Darrell are on a mission to find and showcase heart-centered executives and the companies they lead. You are about to hear an inspiring conversation with a visionary leader that's bringing heart into the workplace, empowering employees, serving their clients, and uplifting communities, all to create true success. This is Culture from the Heart. The movement starts here. Let's begin.
Welcome to Culture from the Heart. I'm your co-host, Darrell, here today with Larry Levine, and we are joined by Lisa Nichols. She is the CEO of Technology Partners, where they are delivering premier technology staffing, solutions, and leadership development services to companies all across America. Lisa, welcome. It's great to have you here.
I am so delighted to be here. Thank you guys for having me. I know we're going to have fun because we have fun even in sidebar conversations. So I know this is going to be good. This is going to be good. So thank you guys. I appreciate you having me on.
Oh, you bet. And as we get kicked off, Lisa, you know the question we ask every guest on Culture from the Heart, and that is, what does Culture from the Heart mean to you?
Now, culture is such an important topic, and it is not something that just happens by accident. I've got a good friend, you guys may know Mark Miller, that wrote Culture Rules. And he said, every organization has a culture. It's either by design or it's by accident. And so I don't know about you guys, but I prefer the by design so that you can steer the ship, if you will. But yeah, culture, I mean, and I've heard people say it's such a hard thing to define, but you know when you have it. And I think for us, Greg and I started Technology Partners 31 years ago, and we have core values that have remained our core values since we started the company. But, you know, the core values can't just be words on a wall. They can't be just words in a handbook. I mean, they truly need to be lived out. And so I think having those core values really will help you, like even when you are hiring people, it helps in performance reviews, tying everything back to that. And so for us, really the culture, we want people to live those core values, but it's really how people behave. The culture or the core values really can kind of be your North Star in how you behave as an organization. So, you know, I'll just tell you our core values, and we do have them on the wall. They are on the wall, and every one of the core values, the acrostic, if you take the first letter of every core value, it comes up with delight. And we said that from the get-go, we want delighted clients, we want delighted employees, we want to delight the communities in which we're operating in. It's truly about creating a win-win-win. Greg and I, in the very beginning, said, if we treat our employees the way that we need to treat them, with heart and with care and concern, and just making sure that we're treating them well, they'll take care of our clients, then our success will follow. And we've stayed true to that. But those core values, it's like, do things right. Do things right. No shortcuts. Don't cut corners. Exceed expectations. Learn and share. We're a learning organization. And as you already said, Darrell, we've got a whole learning division, a leadership division where we're teaching technology people how to go to that next level. The I is innovation. We're a technology company, so you always have to be reinventing yourself. Grow as individuals is the G. And then the H is really important too. It's help others. And when I say help others, it's really, are you helping your team? Are you being a good teammate? Are you pitching in when a teammate maybe feels overwhelmed? And then also helping in the communities in which we serve. And we're a very philanthropic organization as well. And then the very last letter is that T, and it's trust, and transparency. We've been transparent with our business from day one, and our business model, and we're transparent on both sides with our employees as well as our clients. But and then of course trust. You're not going to go very far if you don't have trust. And, so we're looking at those things all the time. And so when those things are all in alignment and your people are operating out of those core values, your culture is a culture that I want to be a part of, and hopefully others will too. But yeah, so that's just a little bit, but ask me another question about it. I mean, I can talk.
Well, we certainly will.
This is what's interesting. I want to zero in. By the way, I love the acronym DELIGHT, but there's a word I want to just zero in on, and it's alignment. And so, in looking at this through your lenses, how do you keep all of this in alignment? How do you keep everyone delighted and aligned and everything rowing in the right direction?
Right. Well, Larry, I'm going to just say a caveat here. People are not always delighted. That's the aspiration, but obviously we're an organization made up of humans, right? So we're not always delighted. That's the aspiration though. I believe that it's a constant communication. And when people are out of alignment, sometimes you need to have those really hard conversations, and it's difficult, and those are not fun. I will be the first to say I'm a peacemaker. I don't like having hard conversations. But when you have somebody that's out of alignment and not operating as they should, with behaving in the way that they should according to our core values, you have to have those hard conversations. And what I've come to believe, and I know it's not a word that we use a lot in business, but I do, it's really loving your people. You gotta, as a leader, if you don't love people, you probably should not be a leader. You really should not be a leader. And when you think about hard conversations, a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to offend somebody, or don't want to upset them, or make them feel defeated. But truly, what I've come to believe is not having those difficult conversations is being unloving. Is being unloving to that person. Do you want that person to grow or not? Right. And you also have to look at the rest of the organization. So you cannot, goodness, I'm trying to think who had said this. Barry Rowan, I think I had heard Barry Rowan speak, and he's a multi-time CEO. And he said that early on, he made the mistake of loving the individual to the point where you don't love the organization. And what I mean by that is if somebody is acting out of alignment, it truly hurts the whole organization. And so he said that was kind of a pivotal shift for him, is like, you cannot love the individual to the point where it's unloving to the organization, if that makes sense.
Sure does.
But I do think loving your people is so important. I've got a dear friend, Jim Bechtold, that was president of the Pampers division for P&G. And when he was doing his doctoral studies and his dissertation, he did it on this whole idea of how your people feel about the organization. Do they feel like they belong? And sadly, what came back from all of his research is that 70% of the people did not feel like they were being cared for, that they really were. They were just more of cog in the wheel. That they were cared for what they did for the organization, but not for who they were. And when he presented this to his boss, which was the CEO at the time, they switched everything. And if you go back and Google, there was a time where P&G started on the love campaign. They sent out love boxes to all their employees, and there was advertising around that. And so that's really, caring for your people is really, really important. But yeah, to answer your question, Larry, about alignment, it is so critical. But again, it's something you have to pay attention to.
Yep.
And when you see that folks are out of alignment, you need to have the hard conversations.
So true. Well, hang tight. We'll be back in a flash with this great conversation with Lisa Nichols. Let's be honest, finding the right people and building the right culture, that's the holy grail for every leader.
That's why we recommend Titus Talent, because they don't just fill seats. They help you build teams that thrive.
With their partnership plans, you get more than just hiring help. You get a committed team by your side that helps you attract top performers and retain them.
They bring strategy, data, and a human touch to talent optimization. No guesswork, just results.
So if you're ready to invest in your people and create a culture where everyone wins, head over to culturefromtheheart.com/talent to learn more.
That's culturefromtheheart.com/talent. Your culture is your competitive advantage. Design it with Titus Talent.
Thank you for listening to that break. Let's get back to the heart of today's episode. Lisa, earlier when you were talking about the culture of an organization, you mentioned that it's something that you feel. It's like it's in the atmosphere. I'm curious, when you think about technology partners and the organization you've built now over 3 decades, what do you want people to feel when they encounter your business or walk into your facility?
Oh, goodness. That's a great question. I would say that there's a couple things. First of all, I want them to feel like they matter. And if it is a client, we really want them to feel like that we are as invested in their success as they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm happy to say that we get that a lot, honestly. And when we go out and we're bidding on a project or something like that, I mean, we've had projects that we've bid on. And I remember one in particular that we were bidding on. There were like 8 firms that were bidding on this particular project, and they narrowed it down to 3. And one of the 3, much larger of an organization than us, but we ended up winning. And I asked that CEO, I said, we had to present. We went and everyone had to, when they narrowed it down to the 3 had to come present to their board. And one of my guys, and it was a mobile application that they were trying to build. And one of our solution architects had gone that weekend on his own dime and actually built some prototypes for this client, for this potential client, and had the phones there, the Android, the iPhone, and had built this proof of concept basically, and had let the board kind of look at this. And we ended up winning that proposal. And I did ask the CEO, I said, such and such is much larger than us. I said, any 3 of us could have done this job and done it well. Why did you choose us? And her response was, because we got the feeling that you guys were as invested and wanted us to succeed as much as we want to succeed.
Yeah.
And that was huge. And I've never forgotten it. And then the second thing she said, there were 2 things. That was the first thing. The second thing, she goes, we're thinking we're going to have to spend a lot of time with whoever we choose. Who do we think that we would enjoy the most?
Yeah.
And it came back to our team. But yeah, I want people to feel like, first of all, if it's an employee, if it's a colleague, I want them to feel like they belong. I want them to be excited to be there. I want them to feel like they've got friends. I want them to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. And certainly there's people that have come, and we've had a lot of people come, and we've had people retire from us, but we've had people come and then go to another organization. But I tell you what Greg and I have always said, we want people to feel, and we want them to actually say, is that I am a better person because I worked at Technology Partners.
Oh, this is so good. And I just got to camp on this feelings word even more, is because, with all due respect to anyone's products they may market, everyone's in the feelings business. And I'm
Yes.
so glad that you've brought this to the forefront. I just believe it. Everyone's in the feelings business, and you got to really pay attention to that.
You do have to pay attention to that. And because our emotions, I mean, certainly we're making decisions, hopefully based on data, right? Based on data, based on, possibly endorsements or testimonials from other, I mean, we've got the data, but at the end of the day, it's like, are you going to enjoy working with these people? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if the answer is no, then, well, maybe that was not the right person, but also you kind of have to take a look at yourself as well. But it's, like I said, it's not something that happens just by accident. It's a very intentional and it's a daily thing, truly, just to kind of make sure that everybody's still in alignment and you're still moving in the right direction.
So I'm curious, Lisa, over the time that you've been building this business, what are some things that you've done intentionally along the way? Obviously, the values, delight, the acronym, beautiful. I'm curious, what are some other things you've done intentionally along the way to build this culture of delight in your organization?
Well, with employees, I mean, we are very intentional about check-ins with people. We try to invite people to the table as much as possible. Certainly, you have to balance that because you can't have a lot of decision makers, necessarily final decision makers.
Mm-hmm.
But we have always really included people's voices. It's very important for people to have their voices heard. And plus, the thing is, as a leader, if you think you know it all, if you think you have all the answers, and if you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably in the wrong room. And so I know that I don't have all the answers. So you need their input and you need their voice. We have got there's a lot of things that we do, Darrell, but we do a lot of team building type activities. Our HR department does an amazing job with that. We have an internal, now our leadership development pillar of the company, if you will, it's called the technology leadership experience. And so we're asking our clients, who do you have as a high potential that really needs maybe a little bit more grooming on the softer skills and the human side of technology, not necessarily the hard skills, teaching them how to program in Python or whatnot, but it's how do you lead a team? So we've got a 9-month program that we will take our clients' people through. But internally, we have an internal program as well called Amplify. And people can go at this at their own pace, but they win badges. They get to certain certifications within the company, and then there's prizes. So that's one thing we do. Our corporate social responsibility program is called LIFT. If you don't know by now, I'm a big acronym person.
Love it.
I really love acronyms, but our corporate social responsibility program is called LIFT, Lives Impacted, Futures Transformed.
Nice.
And yes, and it's based on 3 key pillars, and every request that we get in runs through those pillars. But our employees are free to say, hey, is this something that we could sponsor? And as long as it is something within our pillars, we will consider that. And I cannot tell you how many people so much appreciate what we put back into the community and into nonprofit organizations. They love being a part of that, and they are a part of that. It's based on how profitable. We have a formula. So it's based on how profitable we are. So if we want a larger pool of money to be distributed to out into the community, then we all have to be pulling in the same direction to help the company be as profitable as possible, because that's
so smart.
Based on that. Yeah.
So smart. Well, hey, a huge thank you to all the sponsors who helped make this show possible. When we come back, a little something extra. See you in a moment.
If you were buying a company, you wouldn't just glance at the website and say, looks good, let's buy it. You'd do your due diligence. You'd review the books, check the leadership, dig into performance history.
Exactly. You never spend millions on a company without knowing what you're getting. Yet, most CEOs hire salespeople with nothing more than a resume and a gut feeling.
That's why we recommend Sales Index Unlimited Candidate Assessments. It's like due diligence for your sales hires. Each sales candidate is evaluated across 21 core sales competencies because a crucial role like sales requires more than a personality profile. Sales Index compares candidates against a database of 2.5 million salespeople. You'll know exactly who has the drive, the grit, and the skills to perform before you bring them on board.
Because in sales, a bad hire doesn't just cost salary, it costs momentum, margin, and morale.
For just $299 a month, you can protect your growth engine and make every sales hire a smart investment.
Do your due diligence before your next hire.
Go to unlimited.salesindex.ai. That's unlimited.salesindex.ai and hire with confidence.
You're listening to Culture from the Heart. We'll dive back into this great conversation with Lisa Nichols. Lisa, I've really enjoyed hearing about not only your mindset and your heart set around culture, but the stories of what's going on inside Technology Partners. But hey, there is a little bit something extra, and I know you'd love to share it with our listeners.
I would. So like you guys, I think you started your podcast in 2017. I started my podcast, Something Extra, in 2018. Our daughter, Allie's our youngest daughter, and she was really the inspiration behind the title of Something Extra. She was born with Down syndrome. If you know anything about Down syndrome, it's an extra 21st chromosome. But when you get to know Allie, she's got lots of something extra. She's extra loving. She's extra funny. She's extra intuitive, extra accepting, all of the wonderful qualities that we love in human beings. And so the podcast is named Something Extra. And in 2017, I really felt called to write this book, Something Extra. And I started it, put it on the shelf. Life got busy. And then in 2018, started the podcast, Something Extra. And last summer, I told my husband, Greg, I've got to write the book. I've got to write the book. And so, yeah, I'm very excited. It's available on Amazon, Something Extra, Lisa Nichols, Uncover Your Strengths, Unlock Your Potential, and Unleash Your Impact. And it dropped on the 30th of September.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just playing along with the book and Something Extra. So somebody picks up the book, they start reading it. I want to play on this feelings again. I just got to go back to this. How do you want somebody to feel after they've read the book?
Oh my goodness. There's several things I want them to feel. But the first thing is I want them to understand that every one of us is uniquely and fearfully and wonderfully made with gifts that have been given to all of us. My gifts look different than Darrell's, look different than Larry's. Larry's looks different than Darrell's, I'm sure. But we've all been given a gift. But the gift was never meant for us. It was really meant for us to unwrap that gift and make the world a better place. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes I think that people can get in a mindset of going, well, I wish I had that platform that person has, or I wish I was the leader of this company, or I wish I had this or that, right? And focusing on what they don't have, but look for what you have been given and then leverage that. So I want them to feel encouraged, Larry. I want them to feel hope. I want them to feel excited that they can make an impact with what they have been given. And so that's one thing that I want them to feel. And then what I say is once you've figured that out and knowing who you are, I mean, there's hard work. And the book is divided into 4 different parts. The first part is it starts on the inside. And I fully believe that you cannot lead others until you have figured out how to lead yourself. But it starts on the inside, and there's hard work that has to happen. You have to understand who you are. What's your identity? What's your purpose? Is your identity tied up in your title or your role? I mean, guess what? Sometimes those titles go away. Can't be tied up in that. It has to be tied up into some sort of foundation that's deeper than that. But doing the hard work, I want them to feel excited. I want them to feel energized is another word that I would use. I want them to feel energized when this leadership thing, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we are on a journey. And as we traverse through the journey, there are new things. I mean, I learn something new every single day about myself and about how to lead better. I don't want them to feel at all defeated. It's got 23 different leadership traits in there. And then at the end of every chapter, there's like 5 or 6 pages of reflection questions and exercises that person can do to sit with that particular trait. And so I want them to feel excited. I want them to feel energized. I want them to feel like, yes, let's go. I want to be a better version of me. Mm-hmm. And then the second part of that is I said, when you have figured that out, make sure you are seeing your people that way. And calling those things out in your people, because sometimes we just don't see it in ourselves, right? And it takes another person to call out and say, your reliability is one of your something extras. I can always count on you to do what you say you're going to do, when you're going to do it, deliver, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, so.
Lisa, just as we wrap this up, I just reflecting back on this conversation, delight. I think of that story of the person on your team that worked hard over the weekend on their own dime to put together a little something extra.
He did
to
something
win the
extra
deal.
for sure.
And just thinking about all of this coming together so nicely inside a leader to be able to actually build the culture. And I couldn't agree more. We've got to do the inner work in order to enjoy the culture. And this is such a clarion call for leaders. So as we wrap this up, if you could say one thing to the leaders that are listening in to encourage them in building their culture and growing as a leader, what would you say?
And boy, it's hard to distill it down to one thing. It's hard to distill it down to one thing. But I would say, if you are a person that really wants to build an amazing culture, figure out what that looks like for you, right? And then be intentional about it every single day. If you want to be and look to your people. I mean, elevate your people. You want to elevate your leadership, start by elevating the people that have been entrusted to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Lisa, thank you so much for sharing your heart. And all of this today has been incredible. We here at Culture from the Heart, we're cheering you on.
Thank you so much. It was a delight to be with you guys.
Oh, it's awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. What a great conversation, Larry. And yes, definitely a delight. I love that acronym at the beginning. And if you're going to delight your employees, you're going to delight your clients, your community, as Lisa was talking about, it comes by doing something a little extra. And I just think there's something in that, something extra when it comes to making an exceptional culture.
Yeah, I want to zero in on this alignment. And it plays on the last few things that Lisa had shared is, if you want to delight, create some alignment, but it all starts with yourself. You got to get aligned internally so you can help align externally, which are the people in your company.
So powerful. Well, thank you for joining us this week on Culture from the Heart. We've got a great list of guests coming up, powerful leaders who are really concerned and have built amazing cultures. You don't want to miss it. And by the way, if you know a CEO that has an incredible culture, we'd love to talk to them. Just go to culturefromtheheart.com, click on the button, nominate your CEO. Well, we believe culture is the heartbeat of every organization. And as Lisa has reminded us, it is about delight, creating a culture of delight by doing something extra. Thank you for joining us today on Culture from the Heart. Until next time, lead with your heart and watch your culture thrive.
Thank you for joining us on this journey to discover heart-centered leaders shaping extraordinary company cultures. To access a leader guide with notes from this week's episode, simply click the link in the show notes or visit us at www.culturefromtheheart.com. Do you know a CEO who's built a culture from the heart? We'd love to hear their story. Head over to www.culturefromtheheart.com and click the Nominate Your CEO button. Until next time, remember, great cultures start with the heart.